One of the biggest concerns is the flood risk to the sewage lift station, this white box behind me. If the lake levels rise and breach this containment, the lift station will have to be shut down, cutting off water and sewer to all 9 waterfront properties. If that happens, residents may have no other choice but to evacuate. Bod was a beloved employee of this Dollar Tree store in Penticton. Colleagues describe her as the heart of the store and say they are shocked and saddened by her sudden passing. A memorial with photographs, flowers, and a card for customers to sign is also on display inside. And it's happened here. Passon says a middle-aged Oliver man recently died from what's believed to be an accidental overdose on powerful painkillers used for chronic back pain. These documents from the Immigration and Refugee Board of Canada show Agani was twice ordered deported in 2002 and 2007 after criminal convictions for possessing restricted firearms and trafficking cocaine.
We had to sandbag because the water was flowing down into flooded the 2 homes down here.
When Chute Creek breached its banks on Indian Rock Road in Naramata, resident Grady Pete wasn't about to let Mother Nature swallow his neighbors' homes.
It was roaring pretty good, yeah. It's pretty powerful stuff.
An army of volunteers banded together to protect several waterfront properties along Okanagan Lake.
As it came over, it started flowing through these 2 houses here, creating the ruts here. So the whole thing was just total water coming down.
Today, Chute Creek looks more like a raging river, the water crushing down at a rapid speed. This bridge, the only access to civilization for at least 9 properties to the south. While it's clear now, residents say it was covered in several inches of water over the weekend, forcing the evacuation of at least 9 properties. At Testa-Linden Creek, south of Oliver, exhaustive efforts are underway to remove debris from the creek bed in an attempt to prevent a major disaster. An evacuation alert has been issued for 15 properties along Testa-Linden Creek.
Get a bag together with passports and, banks stuff, and make sure we got all our dog and our cat, so we can kind of get them out of here in a hurry if we have to.
In the spring of 2010, an earthen dam on a mountain reservoir failed, sending a massive mudslide down the Testa-Linden Canyon. It wiped out dozens of acres of orchards and vineyards and destroyed 5 homes. Glasses of wine still sit perched on a patio table, highlighting just how fast the fire evacuees fled.
You could see the flames coming up and you could see the red.
The usually calm and serene oasis at God's Mountain Retreat south of Penticton, the scene of panic and chaos on Sunday night. 28 guests and 10 staff members fled after a half-a-hectare wildfire broke out in the hills on the east side of Skaha Lake around 11 p.m.
We won't leave the sinking ship.
But owner Sarah Allen stayed behind to save her mountainside property.
How could I leave this without a really good fight? I'm not going down without a fight. This is the notice of claim that Vermilion Trail Society filed.
A legal dispute is on track in Princeton over the ownership of this historic pre-1940s caboose. The nonprofit organization, which maintains 113 kilometers of the KVR Trail, is suing the town of Princeton. Local states of emergency, people forced from their homes, property destroyed, lives disrupted up and down the Okanagan Valley. So it may come as no surprise, questions are being raised.
How did this happen and what can we do to make sure it doesn't happen again? Summerland
City Councillor Richard Barkwell now calling for a public review of how Okanagan lake levels were managed. Gearheads with the need for speed are testing out the blacktop at the newly minted Area 27 motorsport track near Oliver.
I never expected in my life that I have something in my backyard that's this amazing.
The 5-kilometer Grand Prix-style racetrack is designed by Canadian racing legend Jacques Villeneuve. It's open to anyone and any kind of car. All you need is a couple of $1,000 and you can practice on it for a few days.
They reacted so differently than I thought they would.
Like most large producers of fruit in the South Okanagan, A&M Orchards in Kiramias relies heavily on temporary foreign workers due to a labor shortage.
Any general farm work, picking, pruning, just irrigation.
But Global News has learned this year the Mexican consulate is refusing to send workers to 9 South Okanagan farms, including A&M, over allegations of poor living conditions.
We believe that no human being should be subject to living in a house that is infested with rats, that is covered with mold, that is overcrowded, or they don't even have a common place to do their laundry. This is just unacceptable for anyone that's working especially 10 to 12 hours in the sun or in the rain.
Raj Veer, the farm supervisor, says they were only cited for housing violations. He takes us on a tour of the living quarters, 2 trailers on the property that can house up to 20 workers, a modest kitchen, 2 bathrooms, a small common area, and 4 single beds to a room.
They did come and tell us that, you know, they had a problem in the housing. We could have fixed it, but they just came back and telling we can't have anyone else come in for a year.
She didn't feel accepted.
This South Okanagan mother says she was shocked and saddened to discover disturbing social media posts penned by her 13-year-old daughter.
And she had posted on there that she wanted to pass away and that no one would miss her. So I asked her in person if that's how she really felt, and she said, yes, I do want to die at times, Mom.
It was last Tuesday around 7 p.m. when the woman, whom we are not identifying, says she frantically started contacting at least 4 suicide prevention crisis lines. She claims it took at least 40 minutes for someone to finally answer her desperate call.
My biggest concern is if a youth were to phone these crisis lines, they're not going to spend over an hour trying to reach out to somebody. And numerous times the people that I spoke to from the crisis lines told me that they would call 911. Well, a youth is not going to call 911 if they're thinking about committing suicide.
This French-Canadian fruit picker has just arrived in Kiramias for the harvest season, but with nowhere to stay, he's pitched a tent here along the banks of the Similkameen River. Soon, this unincorporated area of Crown Land will be a temporary home to as many as 150 riverbed campers, mostly transients, but also a handful of fruit pickers.
The big conventional farms, they tend to neglect a lot the employees and be too much into the money thing. So they want to save a lot of money, and this is neglecting a lot the quality of living of the employees.